I want to show you just how deliberate and dishonest this anti-China propaganda is. And I want to show you how these people in the West accusing China of these things that China is not even doing, how it's all projection, how it's things the West is doing. And in many cases, the West is doing things that are many times worse in reality than what they're even accusing China of. So let's just take a look at this tweet. This is someone who claims to be senior China researcher for Human Rights Watch. And they've got over 21,000 followers on Twitter. They've got their blue check mark. And what do they say? They say, because protecting the life and health of the actual Chinese people is never the priority of the CCP's governance. Scoring political points and maintaining power is way more important. And she's saying that in reference to this New York Times writer's comment about scientists around the world are baffled. Why hasn't China approved an mRNA vaccine? Some point to politics. Regulators were once weeks away from approving Pfizer, BioNTech. Now they seem to be focused on a homegrown option. And again, this senior researcher at Human Rights Watch is claiming it's because the Chinese government doesn't put people first. China has had the most successful response to COVID, more successful than anywhere else in the world. And all you have to do is look at the statistics right here. COVID-19 deaths worldwide by country, 2022. The United States is number one, almost 1 million deaths. You got Brazil, India, Russia, Mexico, Peru, the UK, Italy, Germany, France. And you have to keep going and going and going and going all the way down here to get to China, 4,636 deaths. And until the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics, everyone in the West said China's lying. Obviously, they're lying. It can't possibly be true. And then Beijing 2022 came along, and they demonstrated their COVID control measures in front of the entire world with the Beijing bubble. It was a resounding success, and they proved to the world that, yes, they can control the spread of COVID. They can do that, and that's what they've been doing to have such a low number of deaths. Now, why might China be wary of letting Pfizer have an oversized role in their healthcare system? This might be a reason why. This is from the official US Department of Justice website, justice.gov. This is from 2009. Justice Department announces largest healthcare fraud settlement in its history. Pfizer to pay $2.3 billion for fraudulent marketing. This is a company that people are entrusting their lives to when they use their products for their health. And this is a company that has repeatedly done things like this. And so that was 2009. Here's a story from the Washington Post dated 2012. Pfizer agrees to pay $60 million to settle foreign bribery case. What were they doing here? Their foreign subsidiaries bribed doctors and healthcare officials in order to gain regulatory approval. So that means there were people approving Pfizer products, but not because they were safe and effective, but because they just got paid to. And then we have no idea whether they're safe or effective. We have to assume there must have been something wrong with those products because Pfizer felt the need to bribe regulatory bodies rather than allow their products to be subjected to the process. So that was 2012. Here's 2016. Again, the justice.gov website, Wyeth and Pfizer agreed to pay $784.6 million to resolve lawsuit alleging that Wyeth underpaid drug rebates to Medicaid. So they're defrauding the US healthcare system. And then there's 2018. Drug maker Pfizer agrees to pay $23.85 million to resolve False Claims Act liability for paying kickbacks. It wasn't an isolated incident. It is a pattern of criminality and impropriety demonstrated by Pfizer. Year to year, they get caught doing this. And instead of their company being shuttered and everyone involved thrown in jail, the Department of Justice affords them the opportunity to resolve the cases by just paying large amounts of money to the Department of Justice. It's essentially a bribe so that they can continue doing business. And it's very clear that they haven't reformed themselves. And it's very clear that they're not an honest, trustworthy company. They're a company that shouldn't be allowed to make Tylenol or maybe baby powder. Because even though this next example is not Pfizer, it is an example of the Western pharmaceutical industry and why countries like China aren't obligated to trust Western pharmaceutical companies or be in any rush to approve and use their products. Johnson & Johnson knew for decades that asbestos lurked in its baby powder, a Reuters investigation. Facing thousands of lawsuits alleging that its talc caused cancer, J&J insists on the safety and purity of its iconic product. But internal documents examined by Reuters show that the company's powder was sometimes tainted with carcinogenic asbestos, and that J&J kept that information from regulators and the public. And that's not just something Johnson & Johnson does, that's something Pfizer does, that's something they all do. This is baby powder. It's one of the most basic things a company can make. And Johnson & Johnson couldn't be trusted with that responsibility without poisoning people. And so going back to the original tweet, what this senior Human Rights Watch researcher openly says and what this New York Times writer is insinuating, it's actually the other way around. It's the West that couldn't care less about people, their lives, and their health, putting power and profit above all other things. That's the West doing that. That's Pfizer doing that. That's Johnson & Johnson demonstratively doing that, being caught red-handed doing that, not China. And something you have to remember here is that Human Rights Watch is a fake human rights advocacy organization. They hide behind human rights to help advance Western foreign policy objectives. And when you understand that Western foreign policy objectives are driven by and for Western corporations like Pfizer, and then it makes perfect sense why these two people, one from Human Rights Watch and another from the New York Times, are basically complaining because China won't spend more money on Pfizer products. That's what they're doing. And when you actually look deeply into the topic, there's no reason for China to do it. They have beaten COVID in their own way. Western countries depending on Pfizer products to manage COVID, it has clearly failed. It doesn't work. What China is doing works. And when you look at the background of Pfizer and companies like Pfizer, they are untrustworthy. And so you have to be very careful and selective about what products of theirs you let into your country and which ones you don't. And if there's the option to do it yourself, that is always the better option. If you thought this video was useful, please like and share it. Think about subscribing to my channel. It's free to do and it helps the channel grow. I have a website, newaatlas.report. You can find and follow all of my work there. Even if I get kicked off of YouTube, I can still embed videos there from other video sharing platforms. So please bookmark that link and share it with others. I'm on social media for the time being. I'm on Twitter at Brian_Berletic. I'm also on Weibo. And if you check the video description below, you'll find the links to all of those accounts. And then you can also find all of the links to all of the articles that I've referenced in this video. There are also ways in the video description below where you can help support my work. I have opened a Buy Me a Coffee account. This allows people to give one-time donations or sign up for monthly memberships. You can also do monthly memberships through Patreon, and the links to all of that are in the video description below. And to everyone who has been helping, whether it's month to month, through one-time donations, or even if you're just giving me news tips, words of encouragement, or helping share my work with others, I greatly appreciate that. I literally couldn't do this work without the support of my audience, so thank you so much for that. And as always, thank you for watching.